Good evening. September 6th, committee meeting. Please stand for Pledge of Allegiance. Please remain standing for men and women missing in action, men and women and prisoners of war. Councilwoman Wagner.
Thank you, President Burke. Since we have been here last, we've actually had 3 deaths within, with our council family as well as our law enforcement, first responder family. So I would ask that the council also take a minute or a moment of silence for Councilman Feralia's father, William Rangers, for former Deputy Chief Pete Huff's wife, Christine Huff, as well as Fireman Nick Gentili.
Thank you. Secretary Billups, roll call, please.
Yes. Yes. Counselor Hayman,
Here.
Counselor Blackwell,
Present.
Counselor Andrusco,
Here.
Counselor Sadiq,
Present.
Counselor Feralia. Here. Counselor Silva,
Here.
President Burke,
Present.
Secretary Billups is here, Counselor Wagner. Here. Vice President Tunis,
Good evening, Upper Darby.
Counselor Wentz,
Here.
and we have our Honorable Mayor Barbara Ann Keffer. We have our solicitors, Kilkenny and Marcini, and I'm sorry, I don't know, Miss Bryant. And we have Alexis, and we have our wonderful officers in the back, and we have our wonderful residents of Upper Darby. Hi, guys.
And and
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know who you are. Okay. Hi, court reporter for the liquor license.
Secretary Billups, thank you. Rules of medium decorum. Upper Darby residents have the opportunity to speak for 3 minutes. Residents are prohibited from making threats, using profanity, or acting in a manner that would impede or prevent the conduct of business of the meeting. Public forum shall not exceed 30 minutes. Before we get into the public forum, we have a resolution 2123, transfer of a liquor license. If you signed in to speak for 2123, you'll have your chance to speak when we get into the committee reports. So we'll go with just the public forum first, and then you'll have a little bit more than 3 minutes to speak during the resolution 2123.
Thank you. So when I call your name, will you please come up to the mic and say your name and your address? First is John Damazzi. It's okay. Thanks.
Members of the council, my name is John Damasi. I live at 706 Stanford Road, Drexel Hill, right outside of Drexel. Woohoo, now I got a green light. Excellent. Did y'all hear? Do I need to repeat who I am? Y'all. So thank you. First and foremost, I would like to say that I should have been here a couple months ago to thank in person Ms. Wagner and Mr. Burke for their assistance with a very difficult situation that our family had at Upper Darby School District. While the school board and administration eventually got around to helping us, immediately, Mr. Burke and Ms. Wagner, I had questions, I needed guidance, and you gave it to me. And that didn't matter if it was a phone call, if I ran into it, Wawa, bending your ear over a coffee, or interrupting Mr. Burke over at, I forget where we were, and I was having a beer, and you came up to me and said hi. So anyway, thank you very much for addressing that issue. It was quite a serious issue, and my family thanks you. I do have some questions on an incident that happened a few weeks ago here. I tried getting an answer from the solicitor, tried getting an answer from the mayor's office. It's very difficult, phone's not returned, and it's a simple question, and it is, but it is integral to our ability to communicate as a township. And the question is this, who is allowed to speak at these meetings? Ms. Marcini said you would only talk to me before or after a meeting. I don't know why I couldn't get an email or a phone call. That seemed kind of weird. So who can speak at a meeting? According to my understanding of the Home Rule Charter, under Section HRC Article 3, subsection C 311, public meetings B2, up to the first half hour of all public meetings shall be devoted to a public forum where concerned persons may address the council. Persons who wish to address the council at such public forum shall be given the opportunity to sign their names, to sign in, et cetera, et cetera. Section 7-2 then goes on to, prior to that, does define a person as any individual, partnership, association, or corporation. I fully understand that there may be other rules and regulations. I've been asking for them, haven't been able to get them. They directed me to Mr. Burke. When someone did finally return my call, I called Mr. Burke. Again, thank you. Took all the time in the world to go over this situation. I appreciate that, but then I realized I needed to get an answer from a solicitor or the mayor. So who is allowed to speak at these meetings, and under what regulation is that found? I was told by the CAO that it's on the agenda, but I said the agenda I don't think is really, doesn't supersede the HRC or any of the admin code. So who's allowed to speak?
The mayor's allowed to speak, president of council is allowed to speak, and so is the solicitor. So the questions are directed to the solicitor.
To the solicitor, yeah. So who is allowed to make a public comment? Public comment.
I'm asking the solicitor to
Sure.
answer.
We've been over this many times. It's very clear on the Pennsylvania Open Meetings Law and our Home Rule Charter. It's a resident of Upper Darby or business owner of Upper Darby.
So, yeah, where does it say that? That's all I was asking for. I was like, okay, if that's the answer,
That's the answer.
Where does
And
it say
I've said
that?
it many times.
Where does it say that?
Where does it say that? In our charter, in our code, and the Pennsylvania Open Meetings
Can
Law.
you name the section? I just named the section,
Sir, I
Home Rule
answered your
Charter, Article
question.
3, subsection C 311, public meetings B2.
Thank
Is
you
there
very
another
much, sir.
section where it
I
says
answered
that?
your question. Thank
Well,
you.
I'm just repeating what I said earlier,
And you're free to argue with me. I just gave my answer.
but you didn't give me the section. You just said it's in the Home Rule Charter. Where in the charter?
Thank you very much.
Give me a number. So the solicitor is not going to tell me what section of the charter empowers that rule.
Sir, I just told you, Pennsylvania Open Meetings Law, Home Rule Charter, and Administrative Code, that's what guides this. Okay?
I just quoted the Home Rule Charter and the Administrative Code, and that's not what it says.
Okay, sir. I have a different point of view. Thank
Well,
you very much.
My point of view is the Home Rule Charter.
This is, I understand, sir.
So I just want to get straight that the solicitor is saying that his point of view is what has the force of law and regulation, not the Home Rule Charter.
Actually, it does under the Home Rule Charter.
Where does it say that?
I'll be happy to point you to the section.
Go ahead, I'll wait.
I'm not going to do it right now.
Okay, well, thank you very much. That's our solicitor, ladies and gentlemen. Very disappointed, very disappointed. That was not an answer. That was an avoidance.
Thank you. Next is Demita Moore.
All right, good evening. My name is Demita Moore, 7287 Guilford Road. I am a new homeowner here. I bought a house about 2 months ago. I just came up here to voice my concerns of how I kind of got like a cold greeting from the Delaware community, the Delaware Police Department, and then just the lack of resources. Not to go too deep into my situation, but I've been having like a dispute with my neighbors, and I just have been getting the runaround from the homeowner to the police department to the ADA. It's just no peace. I'm kind of upset because this is where I decided to buy a house to start my life, get married, have kids, and this township is not what I thought it was. From just the trash out in the streets behind where people's driveways are, grass not being cut. We have like smoke shops on like a lot of corners. Like that's a Philly thing. I didn't know that you guys allow that. They block up the parking when you're trying to come through. Around the corner from me, it was the big shooting that happened. I'm just putting it out there that that's like very disappointing. I don't know what you guys are doing or how you're trying to move forward to make it better, but it's not better. It's actually mimicking Philly. And I actually get better help from the police department than I got from the Delaware County Police Department. And so I know that goes to you, Mayor, just to say that that's disappointing. Calling them 8, 9 times and nothing being done, still being harassed by my neighbor, just getting a cold shoulder from the police department. I bought a home here, like a piece of land in this township. And I think that I deserve just a little more help than sending emails, leaving voicemails with no callback. I do want to say thank you to Mrs. Billups and Mr. Sadiq because I reached out to them and they told me to go to the mayor's office. That again is just emails and leaving voicemails. So I'm not coming here to be like aggressive. I'm coming here to just voice that and put that out there because I'm now in the process of actually selling my home. Like I'm moving out of Delaware County because there's no way a place where I pay taxes, good money to be here, and I'm being treated like really bad. So I just wanted to put that out here tonight. I don't really know much of what you guys do, but I just know that I had to say that as a resident of only 2 months here, I'm not happy. So that's just it. I don't know if anybody has any comments, any resources or anything like that, but I'm not happy. And I'm gonna sell my home and that's it. So that was all.
Thank you, Ms. Sorry about that. Ms. Mamie Wilkinson? Yeah, it's 7,200.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
My name is Mamie Wilkerson. I live 7287 Guilford Road. The young lady that just spoke is my daughter. I'm very proud of what she's done. She's brought her first home. But what I'm not proud of is the way she's been treated here in Upper Darby. And that's for me and myself as well, because I reside with her. Okay, that's first. All right, first line, crime. The crime is unbelievable. I see cops never. The incident that occurred several weeks ago on Guilford Road, the murder, that's right down the street from where my daughter purchased her home. It's unacceptable. Smoke shops on every corner. The trash is disgusting. The police have been no help. We've been harassed by this neighbor who's a male for 2 months. I've called the police amount of 6 times, now it's 8 times. I'm up to 8 times. I have an active PFA order against the male. He's not a gentleman. I called on September the 4th. I just got the order on August the 24th. September the 4th, it's violated. I called the police. Nothing's done again. This thing is getting out of control. I am the victim. He is the perpetrator. Now trying to play the victim because his game is being caught up on him, his lies. I'm nervous right now as I speak with the council. I feel threatened for my life. I'm scared. I'm not getting no help. Yes, we live next door, and that's even worse. He was not to say anything to me. That was the order from Judge Klein. He said something, I called the police, the order, nobody paid me any attention. I'm afraid for my life. From not only him, but the police as well, because they're not helping me. When I call them, I'm asked, what are we supposed to do? Really? You're the police.
I'm going to move forward from there because this is being handled as well criminally, but I'm not getting help from the community of Upper Darby. The gentleman, the defendant, not gentleman, I cannot. The defendant has still harassed me. September the 4th was how many days ago? All right, arrested. The trash is ferocious. How do people just come and drop a bag of trash in front of your door? That's unacceptable behavior. We have an enforcement code unit. What are you doing? Not only in front of the door, on the corner ways, wherever. Upper Darby is horrible. My last, thank you, I'm gonna leave, but with my daughter who was just here, which again, I am proud of my daughter for purchasing her first home. And yes, she is right, she pay a lot of taxes out here. Okay, a lot. She's a young woman. Okay, my thing for council in Upper Darby Township, the police need to do their job. If someone's being harassed, I'm the one calling them. I made the first complaint. We moved into this property. I'm going to take it away from there, but I pray that we get some help from somebody soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Next is Michelle Schofield.
Good evening, Michelle Schofield, 519 Millbank Road, Upper Darby, PA. I'm here tonight to share that Stonehurst Hills, in partnership with the Tree Tenders of Upper Darby, were honored to receive an award on August 31st from the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation, Delaware Watershed Conservation Fund, worth $118,000. The award is for our efforts to reforest Stonehurst Hills neighborhood. The project, which will span 2 years, will be in collaboration with the Upper Darby Rain Gardens, Delaware River Keepers Network, the Darby Creek Valley Association, and the Southeast Delaware County Stormwater Collaborative. The goal is to plant 100 trees, 25 river-friendly gardens, and 10 rain gardens, several downspout planters, and to issue rain barrels to our residents. The aim of the project is to create a balanced and healthier environment for all species living within the community and to manage the stormwater. As we know that our area is subjected to flooding normally during this time of the year. So I am really proud and honored to receive this award and to work with our partners. We encourage volunteers, and we will definitely need volunteers from the community to help make this project successful. So we will be accepting volunteers. We're encouraging volunteers who want to express their interest to work with us to reach out to us via email, which is admin1, and I'll spell it, ADMIN, the numeral 1, at Stonehurst, STONEHURST, hills.com. So I just wanted to come in and share that with everyone, and I want to thank everyone for continuing to work with us. I also want to announce that on the fourth Saturday, we will continue our efforts with doing our neighborhood cleanup, which includes the street that you actually live on. So we will continue to distribute that information to our neighbors, and we also need more people to step up to be resident leaders. Our community meeting is going to be on Monday, September the 11th. Right now, we're going to do it on Zoom, and I will send out an email to our neighbors. Thank you so much for allowing me this time, and good evening.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Michelle. I think that Stonehurst Hill is a marvelous asset to our community, and thank you for giving them your information because we're all in this together. It's a community thing, so I appreciate that. Thank you. Next is John Brazzari.
Good evening, John Bizzari, 353 Kirks Lane. So I have a couple items that I want to discuss or talk about. First, I want to actually give a special shout out to Scott Alberts, Open Records Officer for the township, because he has been quick and accommodating to all of my RTK requests. So even when there's a delay, he's been quick to get it before the delayed timeframe. So I just want to give a shout out to Scott for doing all that. I have a question about council meeting minutes. The last time minutes approved by council were posted on the township website was January 31st of this year.
John, Alexis will answer that for you.
The minutes, I believe, are not in the same place
Okay,
that they used to be. When we have the meeting, when you go on and you see where the agenda, the resolutions, and the ordinances are posted, if you go back to the website to that same place.
but you've got to go to the calendar to look for the
Well, yeah,
minutes?
Well, where do you go when you see, in other words, when you go to
There's a
look
link that
for?
says meeting minutes, and then
Right.
it has the different years.
No, not the meeting minutes. I'm talking about when you, say for tonight's agenda, where did you find the agenda?
In the
and
calendar, I'm talking about the approved meeting minutes.
That is where the approved meeting minutes are posted after they're approved.
So you got to go back to the calendar.
Correct. That is
Okay.
where they are posted.
Okay.
And they are
That-
current.
Is there a reason why it's not consistent with where all the meeting minutes are?
Not sure. I mean, that's the administration.
Right. I mean, like, there's a link for meeting minutes. Who's going to know to go back to the calendar for
I
updates?
agree, John. Maybe we can do something about that.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Alexis.
thanks for pointing it out. Appreciate it. Now, I'd be remiss if I don't talk about anything about ARPA, but I am. So I want to know where the nonprofit list of recipients is posted. I don't think it's been posted. Again, I could be wrong. It could be somewhere in the calendar. But where is that list posted of who received ARPA funds, and have they been dispersed to the approved recipients?
So, John, I'll answer that. All of council, I believe, has a copy of the recipient. Is that correct? I thought, Michelle, you sent it out.
I sent it out.
All right, listen, after the last meeting, and I'll have it sent out again, I thought Michelle sent it out. I received it the next day when Michelle sent it out. We'll double check, take care of it tomorrow. Mayor, you've gone through the process with some of these nonprofits. They have some agreements they have to go through, signatures. I'm not part of the nonprofit, but I know there's some stages they have to go through to get that money. I don't know if all the money has been released to all the nonprofits. There's a couple of things they have to go through to receive this money, correct?
Yeah, some of the checks have been signed, but I don't know off the top of my head which ones.
Right.
So
And
it's whatever, whoever was awarded the grants are in the process of receiving the funds that they were awarded.
Okay, but how will the public know that?
That's a good question. So I think when we get this document, we'll find a place on the website to post it.
Okay, because,
Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, no, that's.
And John,
that's good.
my fault, I thought
no,
Secretary Bills
okay.
and I talked last meeting,
And
and I
then-
thought we had to send out to all of council, which is, once it's sent out to all of council, if anybody would ask, it would be
Okay.
public knowledge anyway to any residents.
Thank you.
That's-
And
that's my
then
fault.
with regards to the approved ordinances, what is the timeline on dispersing those funds for all of the approved ordinances of the ARPA funds? I know there's a whole process. I know there's accountability and making sure that those funds are being used for what they're to be used for, but what is the timeline on getting that done? For example, the senior center or the Upper Darby Arts and Education Center, like when are those things going to occur for the disbursement of those funds to get those things going? Unless they're already going now.
I don't want the public forum to be a Q&A session. Can we
I-
address that in the old and new business part of the meeting? Okay.
Okay,
Oh,
okay.
Yep, thank you.
And then I just have an observation on reconciliation of ARPA, because this information that I've been requesting is ARPA related. And your compliance report, I'm just wondering if there is any due diligence being done on that, because an example, under the ordinance of 3120, where there was 50,000 allocated for gun buyback program, gun education training, and gun lock program, each $50,000 each. On 522, there was an expenditure of 1,428 that was categorized as pamphlets for education, but it was aligned to gun lock program. Just wondering if we're making sure that it's being categorized correctly, because I would think that would fall under education and training. I could be mistaken. But if it's not being categorized correctly, then those compliance reports that you're signing off on could be incorrect. Thanks.
Thank you. Next is Joanne Namavag.
Joanne Namavong, 133 North Pennock. So I was looking through the minutes and I saw the July 12th minutes where we approved 3 ordinances, 31, I didn't, you guys did, 3138, 3140, and 3141 for the senior center, the Barclay Square Education and Performing Arts Center, and the trash trucks. And I was looking, and these are all signed by Michelle Billups, by Brian Burke, and by Alexis Cicchetti. But Barbara Ann Keffer has signed none of them. So have they been signed yet by the mayor?
The mayor does not have to sign a resolution or ordinance for
Okay,
it to go
so-
into effect.
Okay, so they're still in effect.
They're in
even though you
effect,
have not
yes.
signed them.
Yep.
Okay, great, thank you. You know what? I guess the other question I have is, so if we want to find out the thing that John DeMasi was speaking about, we would have to go to a different attorney because Sean, you're not answering. You say you're answering, you're not answering. He asked for a section number and you refused to give it. That is not answering. So I guess we do a right to know to someone higher in the state to find out that answer. Thank you.
Well, next is Becky Duggan. I didn't.
Becky Duggan, 129 North Pennock Avenue. I'll just start off with the easy one. What section is it that talks about who may speak at the public for the public forum, public question and answer time? What section is that in the Home Rule Charter? Okay, we're not allowed to have answers because nobody knows the answer because you make the rules up as you go. Okay, so in the ordinance that was passed for the senior center, it says, therefore be it ordained as follows. Upper Darby Township Council makes the following supplemental appropriation from the township's American Rescue Plan allocation for Mayor Keffer and the administration to sign a lease with 5037 Township Line Road, Drexel Hill, PA, 19026, that will expire December 31st, 2026. Has that lease been signed?
No,
It has not been signed.
no, it hasn't.
Is it under review by the solicitor?
Yes, it
that-
is.
And that's why it's not being signed?
So the solicitors and the administration received that lease 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks
and,
ago?
An email from me, along with Executive Branch of Council, Vice President Tunis, and Secretary Billups were copied on that email, along with First District Councilwoman Wagner, and was asked to review and hopefully have an answer for that lease on September 6th. So
That's today.
that is today. That is correct. So we had a response from Solicitor Marcini to Councilwoman Wagner about that. I'm sure Councilwoman Wagner will bring that up under new business and old business tonight, either or. The ball started. Solicitor Marcini has a few questions. We'll touch base on old business and new business.
Okay. So my next topic is
What's that?
Resolution 1123.
I sent the email 2 weeks ago.
This isn't counting against my time then fighting, is it, Michelle?
No, Solicitor. Didn't you? Yeah, but I'm saying solicitor, no, the solicitor responded the other day. That's all. That's all I said. I didn't say anything else. Yeah, yeah.
That's what we're going to do, just so they
We're
know.
going to talk about that in old business and new business. Yeah, we're going to talk about that in old business and new business.
Ms. Dugan, it's simply the facts of the
Okay.
timeline, that's all.
I got another one coming.
It's just
so-
the timeline.
Ready? Okay, I just make sure we're all ready. So in May, on May 24th, Resolution 11-23 was passed. In the first paragraph, whereas the Upper Darby Township Police Department has a staffing of 133 officers, and the current staffing model has become a strain on the operational aspects of the department to fight crime and to provide vital community services. Now, in the therefore section, it says, now therefore, it is hereby resolved by the Upper Darby Township Council, a goal of 5 new officers added to the grade each year over the next 5 years, which is to get the desired effect. Now, I had asked this question several weeks ago, or several meetings ago, if the administration, the mayor, would commit to hiring those 5 new officers if the funding comes through that you have been working on with, I guess, Gina Curry and whoever else. Will you commit to hiring those 5 new officers every year? In light of the fact that everybody here has been crying about crime, I know the shooting that took place several weeks ago, the police department had to call in members of other departments, Lansdowne, Haverford, to cover things because we don't have enough people. It's not fair that you leave the police understaffed and then leave them to clean up your mess. It's not fair to them. Does anybody care about the police?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you know, they have to go see horrible things, deal with horrible people. You're not going to commit to hiring those new officers to help them. When's the police contract up?
I don't know, actually.
That we just got? When's the police contract up? Okay. I get it. Good luck to the police officers in Upper Darby. And the citizens.
Next is Olivia Taylor.
Olivia Taylor, 204 Kent Road. Ma'am, I'm listening to your, what you just said. I live in the 6th district as well. You're talking to a 28-year resident. Upper Darby was a beautiful place to live at one point. Do you understand? We had a police chief named Michael Chitwood. None of this crap that's happening now would not be happening. That doesn't go against Bernhardt. That's the superintendent in charge. This one here, this thing you want to call a mayor, defunded our police department, okay? She has destroyed Upper Darby Police Department, which was named one of the best departments in the state of Pennsylvania before you got in here, okay? Let's talk about that. Now, I'm just so angry because it's like 3 different people, 3 shootings within the past week in our 6th district alone. I am up to here with you. I'm up to here. The only bright spot that has happened here was the new ShopRite opening down there in Drexel Line, because that looked like a damn ghost town for the past 5 years. No thanks to you, okay? But be that as it may, now the ARPA funds, all the things people said before me. Okay, we got the fire department. Are they getting their money? The Performing Arts Building in Barclay Square, from my understanding, along with the senior citizen, that is a package deal. Am I correct? So if we don't get the senior citizen, we don't get the summer stage in for the kids in Barclay Square? I'm talking to you. Burke, don't say a word, please don't. I'm talking to you. because you have ran this township down to the ground, and it needs to stop. It needs to stop. And I don't give a damn if you're a Republican or a Democrat. You have destroyed Upper Darby Township. Okay, and now you're sitting there continuing to destroy this township. Because if Mr. Harry pulls Summer Stage out of here because of you, I hope every parent, all 80,000 in this damn township, come in here in the next meeting and throw you under the bus, as they should have. Okay? Because not only did you destroy the kid, you destroyed families, businesses, our police department. We need trucks. Here, wintertime is, 2 months away. We don't even have no damn snowplows. And you sitting there looking stupid. First, second, third, and fourth district are the ones who pay the highest taxes in Upper Darby Township. They're the ones that's keeping this township afloat. And you sitting here looking stupid and telling these residents they have did their part. They have lived their life. They deserve a place to go. And you know what? I'm going to say it, Councilman Wagner, you don't want me to. The only reason why you holding this up is because of her. That is the only reason. So here there's people in the first district. She doesn't want to open this up because of Councilwoman Wagner that has came in here and destroyed this joke she called administration. That's why that senior citizen home is not open. That's why it hasn't been, the lease hasn't been signed. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. You have nothing to say? You destroyed this township. You destroyed it. I mean, every aspect, every department in this building has been affected by your stupidity. I am so up to here. I'm just done. I'm done. You can't. There's trash everywhere. They don't see our police. I can't say it out loud because of security reasons.
Thank you.
But it's a reason why you don't see the police like you normally do.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor.
It's a reason, and it needs to stop. And I don't give a damn who don't like what I'm saying. You can see me after the meeting. I don't care. It is what it is.
Thank you,
I'm
Ms.
tired.
Thank you, Ms.
I
Taylor.
am tired. And let that man take these, oh, I'm so mad I can't even get it together. I'm sorry, y'all. Woo! If that man, Mr. Harry, takes away this performing arts for these kids, I mean, you have already destroyed families, careers, businesses, the kids.
Thank you.
It's
Thank
bad
you, Ms.
enough.
Taylor.
Excuse me, let me say what I need to
Ms.
say
Taylor,
as
your
a
time's up. Thank
resident,
you.
okay? Just give me 2 more minutes.
No, Ms.
Not
Taylor, your
even 2
time's
more
up.
minutes.
Ms. Taylor, your
It's
time's up.
disgusting.
Thank you very
This
much.
needs to stop.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor.
I hope he comes in here and lights fire to your sorry behind.
thank you,
You're
Ms. Taylor.
trash.
Thank you.
Wow. Next is Lee Jordan.
Lee Jordan, 90 Pilgrim Lane, Drexel Hill. Just a few things I want to address. I know that we have a trash issue. And like I talked about before, instead of planning all these cleanups, maybe we should just focus on education, getting to the schools, just try to find another solution to it. More trash cans. I mean, it seems like an easy fix, so let's just maybe focus on that instead of planning cleanups all the time. I want to also talk about Dermont Circle, which is, Pilgrim Gardens, when you come in from Havertown into Drexel Hill. I'm not sure who's doing the maintenance on it, but it looks awful, and it really, really needs help. It's the window into our community, and I don't know who mowed it last time, but there was grass all over the place, including the sidewalk. So if somebody can make that a priority, it is actually part of the parks, I believe, so if somebody could look into that. Also, I need to talk about communications. We just need to do a better job communicating in this township about upcoming events, things that are coming to vote. I know there was a time period that on Fridays we were getting updates from the mayor on things that were happening over the weekend, and maybe we could bring that back and also elaborate on council meetings coming up and other meetings where people can know what's going on. I mean, I get on the website, but there's a lot of things that just happen at the 11th hour, and I'm scrambling because I'm involved citizen to get people involved to come and talk about it. So if we could look at that, a way to send out communications. I know we're not Havertown. I'm part of their email distribution. Every week they're sending out the happenings in Havertown, whatever the meetings are. And I know you have my email, so it'd be something easy to do. Also, I wanted to talk about farmer's market. Do we ever get one in the township? I know that in Arlington Cemetery, that Greenhorn was doing one, but I don't ever remember one happening in the township. And if I'm missing that, if somebody can tell me when, you can talk. And we also need to add, or I don't know who would take care of this, some type of self-defense classes for the community. I know the police do the police academy, but the world is changing. I mean, not just in Upper Darby. I mean, there was an assault in Lawrence Park last week at 2:30 in the afternoon. I mean, if the council could look at offering some type of self-defense that you offer to the community, it'd be greatly appreciated. That's it for now.
Thanks, Lee.
Next is Joseph Tyndall.
Joseph Tyndall, 5240 Oleana Road. I'm relatively new here, less than a year. I wasn't even planning to speak, but I was reminded of something. This has been a fun evening. I really just have a very simple question of, I read an article about the new ShopRite that's gone in. And the article actually says the new location is the anchor tenant of the Drexel Line Town Center, an 18-acre multi-use development that includes a Drexel Line light rail station on site, allowing for a 30-minute commute to Center City, Philadelphia. Is that a thing that we know about? Because is it okay? Because that's not 30 minutes. That's well over an hour. Okay, ish. I would say it depends on when you go. My girlfriend goes to work every day, and it takes a minute. Okay, all right. So the article's not correct. Okay, is that something that we would consider? Like I know the infrastructure for that's not cheap, but I know like 69th Street's a bottleneck, and I know that there's various points where you can get into the city pretty directly, but I don't know. I didn't know if that was something that was considered for this part of the. Just think it'd be a good idea. I don't know, but anyhow. All right, a lot of shrugs. Fair enough. All right, cool. I'm good. Thanks.
Seattle? Is that what he said? Where are you from originally?
Louisville, Kentucky.
Kentucky. Okay, thank you.
Home of Muhammad Ali.
I'm pretty. Next is Ed Brown.
Hi, my name is Ed Brown, and I live at 7111 Pennsylvania Avenue. I come to you tonight with a message of optimism and hope. Each and every one of you were voted into your positions by the residents of the township, and that in itself is amazing and an awesome responsibility. You all should be extremely proud of that. In the 6th largest municipality of Pennsylvania, the 11 of you were chosen to represent the over 80,000 residents as elected councilmen and councilwomen and mayor. I humbly ask you to do something for me. Rededicate yourself to your role and commit to working respectfully, collaboratively, kindly, and communicate in a way that does honor to the roles and positions that you possess. This is not utopia, so I don't expect, and no one expects you to see eye to eye on every issue. The Home Rule Charter doesn't require that you love each other, but being divisive, political, mean-spirited, disrespectful, unkind, and closed-minded is no way to govern. I am sure that we can all agree on that. I am certain that every one of you sitting in one of your chairs would reflect on the last 2 years and say about a particular issue, if I had to do that over again, I would probably do things a little differently. I have had the pleasure and honor of serving as an Upper Darby School Board Director since 2017, the last 3 years as president. I have served with Ds, and you know what that is, and Rs. One that I respect very highly is sitting in the room. And I've thoroughly enjoyed working with each and every one of them. They all brought something different to the table with different ideas, visions, worldviews, perspectives, with our common bond being what is best for the education of the children of Upper Darby. We argued, debated, and even annoyed each other behind closed doors, and deliberated even further in the public eye, but in a respectful and dignified manner. For that, I am very proud. It is true that I am running to be the mayor of this township, and I would be honored to be elected and try to help this township in every way that I can to be the best that it could be. I want to make it clear to manage expectations that I am not a miracle worker, and I alone cannot fix the many things that we need to work on. Notice I said we. I didn't say these or ours or us or them. It will take the collective effort of all of us to build a township that we can all be proud of, one that is a model for others to emulate. If I am fortunate enough to succeed, Barbara Ann, and sit among you, I want to join an administration and council that is working together to make Upper Darby better every day. I know that will be my goal, and I hope and pray that it is your goal too. I think that it's important that you commit to working together on that now and not just later. In January, I'll insist on it. Now I'm asking you to do it anyway. The community deserves it. Please and thank you.
Thank you. Next is Hazel Johnson.
Good evening, council. Hazel Johnson, 66 Hartley Road, Lansdowne, PA, Upper Darby Township. This is a thank you to Vice President Hafiz Tunis Jr. Thank you for your most recent assistance that you gave to me and various neighbors on Hartley Road in Lansdowne, PA, Upper Darby Township. Your assistance was swift, direct, and is greatly appreciated by us all. Thank you for your assistance and support, and have a good evening. Good evening to council.
Thank you. That was quick.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson.
Thank you. Next is Judy Duggan.
This will be very short. My name is Judy Duggan. I live at 141 North Pennock Avenue. I didn't know we were allowed to give political speeches, but now that I see that we can, I would like to give a political speech to recommend everyone to vote for Brian Burke for mayor, because this whole township has fallen down so bad, as everybody can see, in the last few years, and we need a change of administration. Ed Brown will continue the same administration that we have now, so please consider that, and let's not take us any farther down. So let's vote for Brian Burke. Thank you. And Tina Hamilton.
Oh, thank you. Next is Tina Hamilton.
Tina Hamilton, 4715 Woodland Avenue. Since we're allowed to stand up here and campaign, well, why not? I think we got to vote for Brian Burke. You got to vote for me. I'm up for at-large, people. All right, so anyway, now that I got that out of my system, because I think you shouldn't be able to do that, but I had to do it. All right, so our concerns here that I have is crime. Seriously, it's been out of hand. My heart breaks for you that you have to come here and then she has to leave. And it's things we never hear about again. There's a shooting and we don't hear anything else. We don't know we're safe any longer. We don't have a clue. And today at the school, at Upper Darby High School, cops are swarming all over at McDonald's. We don't hear nothing of what's going on. School has to let out. Why? Because it's too hot. But there's practice for these kids. They all get locked out of the school. Why? There's an armed guy running around the neighborhood. Oh, they catch them, but you know, you're locking kids out of the school. They can't go to school because it's too hot. Then you have practice on the field for these kids that can't stay in school because it's too hot, but let's put them in full pads and put them out in practice. Then lock them out of the door when there's somebody who's got a weapon outside. You haven't done anything. This is not on you guys. This is on Ed Brown, who's trying to run for mayor. So we'll leave that one right there too. But I am very concerned about that. The safety in our schools for our kids is very important. Out of my control, in any position that I may hold in the future, and I understand that. But it's a concern, and we should all somehow find a way to fix this and protect our kids. They're trying to get into these schools. It takes them 45 minutes to get in there because they got a scan code. 4 entrances to go in with a card. It takes them 45 minutes to get in there. 45 minutes to then try to get to your class. It's kind of crazy that it's that crazy. It's just something that seriously has to be looked at, and I don't know if we can get there. I had some complaints that had came to me also about along St. Charles. They're doing all that work on the streets, and they have taken these detour signs and put them right in the middle of the sidewalk. You have these kids that have to go around it, and they're walking into the street. I do have pictures. I will send them. So these big, huge things with the sand blocks, the whole, detour here are in the middle of the street. People with wheelchairs have to go around these things. The kids coming out of school right down at St. Charles. I know you're looking like, what are you talking about, Tina? Down at St. Charles School, they're literally on the sidewalk. When these kids come out, they have to go around these, those big, you know what I'm talking about. There's got to be a better placement for them because people are going to get hurt. It's going to be an accident. Somebody is going to get hurt. You got all these juveniles coming out of here, little elementary kids, and the teachers coming across the way. There's nowhere for them to go. Somehow, somebody's got to find out why these things are in their walkway. It's not safe. That's about it. Vote for me.
Thank you, Tina. Thank you, Secretary Phillips. Next point, next 6.0, the Honorable Mayor Barbara Ann Keffer.
Good evening, everyone. The Upper Darby Police Department has openings for its next Citizens Police Academy. This is for residents age 18 and older and will take place Wednesday evenings at the police headquarters from September 13th through October 18th. For more details or to enroll, please call 610-734-7686. You can email udpdcps@udpd.org or visit the police department website at udpd.org/citizens-police-academy. On Wednesday, September 20th at 6 p.m., we will be hosting a town hall on the 5-year financial plan to be presented by PFM through the Department of Community and Economic Development and their STAMP program. STAMP stands for Strategic Management Planning Program. Originally, the township applied for this program late in 2019 to focus on the development of 69th Street. And after I became mayor, I switched the focus of the program to focus on the overall financial stability of our township and to look at long-term projections, obligations we have to our retirees, residents, staff, and businesses, with the desire that our future budgeting will reflect the reality of our situation and ensure the stability of our township. PFM has completed phase 1 of the STAMP program and will share their findings publicly. The town hall will be live streamed and archived on our township YouTube channel as well. But we hope that you'll join us. The Upper Darby International Festival will be held Saturday, September 30th from 1 to 6 p.m. at the 5 Points intersection in front of the Township Building. We are still taking applications for vendors and sponsors. And more information can be found on our website, www.upperdarby.org/festival. I'd like to address a couple of themes that keep popping up during the public forum. And the bottom line is I respect every resident's right to free speech, and there's really not enough time in this meeting or any meeting really to address or acknowledge the various false statements that are made here in this room, but there are a couple I would like to clarify. In 2019, it did not run on transparency. It ran on revitalization, reform, and reinvestment. And having said that, since being sworn in as mayor, our government is much more transparent than ever before. Our ordinances have been codified. That was completed in 2020. At least twice a year, our chief municipal clerk, Alexis Cicchetti, updates the code to include the new ordinances. Per the Home Rule Charter, which we all like to refer to pretty often here, codification was to be completed over 40 years ago, and it was not done so until 2020. The township has a YouTube channel where for the first time, council meetings, zoning hearing board meetings, planning commission meetings, and all other public meetings are live streamed and archived. The police and fire departments publish comprehensive monthly reports on their respective websites, and that was never done previously. I'm very open to implementable ideas that will make our residents feel at ease with how we run day-to-day operations. For instance, because of a suggestion made here in this room by one of our residents, we contacted our web provider, and now people who make the right to know requests now get a detailed receipt of their requests. And we work every day to modernize our municipal services. It is a process, and I appreciate good faith suggestions and criticisms. I hope everybody enjoys the rest of the evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Keffer. Next up is myself. Earlier before the meeting, we had an executive session. Seems like I'd like to report that all 11 of us seem to be on board with the conversation at the executive session. We'll bring that forward, hopefully into the next meeting or the following meeting, what happened in executive session. But it seemed like all 11 of us were together on what we spoke about. So we'll move on to the committee reports, 8.0, 8.1, Planning, Zoning, Building Code Committee, Chairwoman, Councilwoman Wagner. We have public hearing, Resolution 2123, Solicitor Kilkenny.
Sure. Thank you very much, President Burke. What I'm going to go ahead and do is, I see we have a court reporter there. This has been an advertised public hearing related to an intermunicipal transfer of liquor license E4819 from its prior location in Haverford Township, Delaware County, to 5100 State Road, Upper Darby, Delaware County, Pennsylvania. I see Ms. Freeman here representing the applicant here. So I think people generally know what this is about, so I'm going to read the therefore or the more important clauses. Now, therefore, be it adopted is hereby resolved by Upper Darby Council. Same as follows. I-1, the application of Wawa Incorporated for an intermunicipal transfer of a Pennsylvania eating liquor license E4819 from Haverford Township, Delaware County, to the premises located at 5100 State Road, Upper Darby Township, Delaware County, is hereby approved and is determined based on the information and evidence presented by applicant, and after consideration of the public comment at the hearing, the transfer will not be detrimental to the welfare, health, peace, and morals of the municipality. 2, applicant's license transfer is subject to approval by the Pennsylvania Liquor Control Board. There's a repealer clause, a severability clause, effective date, with Mr. Burke's signature underneath it. So that's the reading of the resolution.
Thank you, Solicitor Kilkenny.
Perhaps, I don't know, Ms. Freeman, if you wanted to come and say a few things or make a brief presentation, then see if there is any public comment, close the hearing, and then council.
Yep, sounds good. Thank you, Solicitor.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Thank you for your time tonight. My name is Ellen Freeman. I'm an attorney with Flaherty and O'Hara. We're a law firm based out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Please don't throw anything at me. I travel all over the state representing clients for their intermunicipal transfers. So if you have any questions about the liquor code or selling alcohol in Pennsylvania in general, I'd be happy to respond. Of course, tonight I am here on behalf of Wawa Inc. I have a representative here with me this evening. This is Mike Spiegel. He's the project engineer for this store. So if you have any questions that I might not be able to answer, I'm going to call upon him and I'll have him come and testify in front of all of you. I know that you have had liquor license transfers before, so I won't go into the nitty-gritty of the liquor code requirements, but of course I can answer those questions if you have any. But we would be transferring this liquor license to their new store at 5100 State Road. That's part of the Drexel Line redevelopment where the ShopRite is currently located and, as I understand, just opened. And this isn't Wawa's first entrance into alcohol in Pennsylvania. They have 24 other locations currently operating liquor licenses in Pennsylvania that sell both beer and wine. They also have over 100 locations throughout Florida and Virginia that sell alcohol already and has been doing so for a number of years. And I mention that because I think it's important to know that they're not stepping into this industry blind. They have a number of years of experience of troubleshooting what works, what doesn't work, what they can put into effect, what their associates need training on. And so they really hone in on their safety policies and procedures. Everything that I testify here to tonight is implemented at their 24 other locations. So if you haven't been in, if you have been in one of those locations, you've probably experienced this. I think tonight it would be helpful if you all had a floor plan in front of you, because I will reference things throughout the store. So I do have an exhibit this evening. This is just a preliminary floor plan for everyone to take a look at. Yep, that works. Yeah, sure. Can I have my witness do as well, just in case? I assume that he will. Mike, if you don't mind. Ellen Freeman.
Sure, Michael Spiegel.
And do you solemnly swear that your testimony tonight will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Just one quick question. Mike, you work for the developer or Wawa?
I work for Wawa.
Okay,
I'm a
thank you.
Wawa employee.
Okay, thank you.
So while you're getting that distributed, I'll go over a few of their safety policies that they have in place. The first one is a 100% carding policy. No matter how old you look, how young you look, you're going to be carded by an associate. In addition to being carded, that identification will be run through a card scanner transaction device. That's just a second level to ensure that, number one, it's a valid ID, that it's not expired, and that that individual is 21 years or older. This also just removes the gray area for associates to have to question whether someone is of age or not. So across the board, everyone is carded. In addition to that, this is an eating place liquor license. The liquor code does allow for Wawa to convert this license to a restaurant liquor license, which is what they operate at their other 24 locations. So their intentions are to do that. The reason for the conversion is to allow them to sell wine. With an eating place license, they're only permitted to sell beer. So by converting it to a restaurant license, they would be able to sell wine to go. They do not sell any distilled spirits. So you will not see that in the store in Upper Darby Township. So beer and wine will be sold primarily to go. Obviously, this is a convenience store. Their idea is that they have a customer base, a very loyal customer base. Often at these meetings when I'm representing Wawa, people will stand up and say, "This is my Wawa." They're very possessive. They're very proud of the Wawa that represents them, and it goes hand in hand. Wawa is very proud to have the community that they represent. They build up a reputation on this part of the state, and they have to protect that reputation. Otherwise, they would not have this loyal customer base. So again, I say that to reiterate that they're sensitive to the sale of alcohol, but they're even more sensitive to their reputation, and they can't jeopardize that reputation by handling alcohol in a haphazard manner. So with this floor plan in front of you, they do create their floor plans in a way that allows for visibility throughout the store. You can see on the left-hand side, there's a seating area for 30 patrons. That's a liquor code requirement. And I understand there was some discussion in the past that the seating area was not presented previously in the zoning. One thing that I'll mention on that is the zoning did happen a number of years ago, prior to Wawa even acquiring this liquor license. They just put this license under agreement a couple of months ago. Because of the pandemic, because of how liquor licenses are sold in Pennsylvania, there's never a guarantee that a liquor license can be placed in any one store.
Excuse me right there, Ellen. I'd like to stop you on what you just said there for the record.
Okay.
You haven't acquired the liquor license, correct?
It's under agreement.
You just said you have acquired it.
Yes, it's under
Okay.
agreement.
And it is correct, even though if it's denied, you will win in court. Am I correct?
Well, I mean, I can't predetermine what a judge would say.
No, listen, I'm asking a question to the presenter. Yeah, I know, but she just, Ellen just made two statements. We've had conversation over the last week and a half over this. And you've made two statements that I believe contradict some of the statements.
I think it
and the
was just
truth.
maybe the terminology that I used.
Okay.
We did acquire the license, we put it under agreement. So it is Wawa's if it gets approved. If it doesn't get approved, then we could terminate that agreement.
Or it'll be approved 2 weeks later from the state. That's all. Thank you.
So just back to the floor plan. So the seating area is to the left there. You can see right below the floor, the seating area is where the cold beer would be stored. So that is essentially the only area in which the beer is going to be displayed. There are some displays in the general store. That's called the warm beer, which is essentially just non-refrigerated. And then, of course, to the right of the vestibule is where the registers are. And the registers are manned by an employee at all times. That employee that is at the register will be ramp trained. So that's the Responsible Alcohol Management Program. In addition to that, that's a required program, but Wawa goes a step further and has all of their associates before this store opens. All the associates that they've hired will go to the Wawa campus or somewhere local for them, and they'll go through internal Wawa training. And the reason they do that is because Wawa goes above and beyond the liquor code requirements. So that 100% carding policy, not a liquor code requirement. Using a card scanner transaction device, not a liquor code requirement on all purchases. So they like to go above and beyond. They also like their employees to know what would happen if they violate any of their policies, which is termination after a review of what occurred. They want employees to know that their job is to card everyone. Their job is to sell alcohol in a safe manner. In addition to the floor plan, I do want to just go over their basic operations. So as I mentioned, they only sell beer and wine. They do have a limitation on how much they can sell. Okay.
I'm sorry, before you go to operations, I have a question regarding the floor plan.
No problem.
If I'm reading it correctly, there are going to be 3 stalls for the men in the men's room and 2 stalls for the women?
2 urinals and a stall for the men and 2 stalls for the women.
Okay. We usually have to wait longer than the men. Maybe they can.
I have no control over that. I'm sorry.
I mean, they have 3 stalls and the women have 2. I know it seems small, but you're always waiting as a female.
At these
Councilman Blackwell,
meetings-
this is about to transfer the liquor license.
No, I was talking about the
It's
floor
not,
plan.
I know. I'm just saying it's about to transfer the liquor license.
This is about the floor plan. It had nothing to do about the liquor license. It has something to do with the liquor license, but we're talking about the floor plan.
I don't have any control over that. I always
Can
at
you,
these
can
meetings.
you just mention it before?
Absolutely.
Because I know the women are going to be waiting. We have 2 and they have 3.
I'm at these meetings. I'm always happy to bring feedback. I'm
Okay.
not a Wawa employee and they're outside counsel, so I personally don't have any control over it.
Okay, thank
But
you.
definitely can consider that in the future.
Thank you.
So for the operations, they do have a limitation on how much they can sell. For beer, it's 192 fluid ounces, which is roughly 2 6-packs, depending on the configuration. And then for wine, it's 3,000 milliliters, which is roughly 4 standard bottles of wine that they can purchase in one transaction. If any individual wants to purchase more than that, they do have to leave the premises and then come back in and make a separate sale. The hours of operation, this store is 24/7. They are permitted to sell alcohol Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 2 a.m. with wine sales ending at 11 p.m. and Sunday from 9 a.m. to 2 a.m. with wine sales ending at 11 p.m. The wine sales ending at 11 p.m. is a liquor code requirement. And then at 2 a.m., when all sales have ceased, all of the cold beer doors will be locked so that no one can access that product.
Can you repeat that?
Sure. That's
4 bottles before, right? Is the
3,000 milliliters, which is approximately 4 standard bottles of wine.
Okay. And can you just repeat the hours again? I'm sorry.
Oh, sure. Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 2 a.m. with wine sales ending at 11 p.m. and Sunday from 9 a.m. to 2 a.m. with wine sales ending at 11 p.m. And then just one thing I skipped over in terms of their safety policies is they, of course, will have security cameras throughout the store. They specifically focus all of their security cameras on their product as well as their registers to ensure that all of that is captured. Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, they kind of started the Q&A a little early.
No worries.
I just had a quick question about the time. So when you say that time frame, that's just for takeout, or is it like, because you mentioned that the restaurant
Great
license.
question.
So I envision people like eating a quesadilla, drinking a beverage. Does that end at 2 a.m. as well?
That is a great question, and I skipped over that, so thank you for bringing that up. So Wawa, once they convert that license from eating place to a restaurant liquor license, the Liquor Control Board says you have to operate like a restaurant. So of course, they have their vast menu, they offer a bunch of food, they have the seating area where patrons can consume. So the Liquor Control Board says you have to sell for on-premises consumption. Way back when, before the Liquor Control Board created this policy, and I say policy because in my opinion, under the liquor code, they don't have to. All the grocery stores, if you've been into any Giants, Weis, Wegmans, they never sold for on-premises consumption. So Wawa would prefer not to sell for on-premises consumption. Because they have to allow it, they do restrict it. They're permitted to restrict it to one 12-ounce bottle of beer that you have to consume in the seating area. It cannot be taken around the store, cannot be taken in the parking lot. And there's signage on all of their tables, little pop-ups, as well as on the cold beer doors that tells that policy. Part of that internal training that the associates go through, especially the ones who are monitoring at the registers, they have a clear view of that seating area, and they are taught to be on call at all times to make sure that when they do see a patron at that seating area, and maybe they do have a beverage, to make note of it. We have taken a look at the other 24 locations to see, how many, what the testimonials from the managers and the staff are about that. They're finding that it's like under 2% of their alcohol sales are those that are consuming on the premises. So it is about 98% that people are taking to go.
Sorry, just want a quick follow-up. So it's one beverage per order, right?
One beverage per day. That customer is permitted one beverage. This isn't a scenario where you have a 12-ounce beer, you go back to your car and come back in and have another one. It's not like that.
Okay.
It's you are allowed permitted one 12-ounce beer a day. Could someone abuse that policy? Sure.
Yeah.
But they're betting on the fact that they don't often see it occurring, that hopefully their policy and monitoring will ensure that it stays in place.
And this is a little bit detailed, but just want to, so people can see a picture. So when the person buys the beverage for in-store consumption, are you guys opening that for them, or they have the option to open and close the beverage themselves?
They would have to purchase it first, but no, the Wawa associate does not open it for them.
Okay.
They don't even need to, the Wawa associate is not asking everyone who's purchasing beer, are you going to consume one on premises?
Right.
So it is up to the Wawa employee and their training to ensure that if they see someone buy it and then go sit into the seat, that the one beer policy is remaining in place.
Understood. Thank you.
Yes. Oh, that's my presentation for the evening. So I'd be happy to just turn it into a Q&A.
Yeah, we'll
or
open
public
it up to the public, and then we'll bring it back to council. Okay, you know what? We'll ask, you know what? 3 council people have asked, could we ask first?
Yeah.
Are we okay with that? Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so we're okay with that. Go ahead. Councilman Siddiq. Councilman Heyman?
I think a couple people from the public are going to come probably ask a question like this tonight, but would Wawa be able or willing to, tentatively, if council were to approve this tonight, would Wawa be willing to adjust the time to 11 o'clock for all booze? Well, I don't know. We both thought it independently.
It would not be Wawa's preference. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Number one, uniformity across their store is important to them. Associates do transfer from store to store. So for an associate to have to, remember different rules, it's just not ideal. The second prong of that, and I think is the more important prong, is that the reason that they choose to operate the full privilege of a liquor license is because they want all of their customers to be able to utilize this convenience. So the second shift workers, those that are coming from the hospital, those that are coming off of construction, they want to come in, they might come in at that hour, and then they're not permitted to purchase because they work during unusual hours. So they do want to service all that. The amount of sales, do go down after a certain hour, and they keep their employees on to ensure that there's still safety throughout the store. So it wouldn't be Wawa's preference to have to limit that because they feel as though they're limiting the offerings that their customers are looking for.
I recognize that it wouldn't be the preference, and I understand the plight of second shift workers. I was one for many years, and with all due respect to them, and as one who did it for many years, I would grab, if I needed a six-pack that badly, I'd grab it before work or at another time. I mean, I understand that, but I recognize that there's a marketing equation that's probably come up with that calculation. I let other council members ask questions about it, but I know that there are going to be a couple people who have questions about something related to that. I again recognize it's not the preference, but in the event that council were to do that, what would Wawa's reaction be?
Well, unfortunately, I'm not, I have no authority to make a decision on behalf of Wawa. So it's coming at, unfortunately, the 11th hour with this type of hearing. I'm not sure exactly what they would say. I know that they have agreed to it in one municipality in the past. It was very long ago, and that was midnight. So it was, later than what you're suggesting here.
Okay.
Councilman Heyman, would you like to make that midnight?
I'd like to talk to Councilor Wagner
Sure.
since it's her
We'll wait to
district,
see what
but
Councilman Wagner has to say.
don't
Okay. Sounds good. Good.
Hello, thank you so much for being here. I know you just mentioned that it's the 11th hour, but it's the first time it's come to us. So it may be the 11th hour to you as far as this, us finding out, this, you've been dealing with it for a while. We're just now hearing about it. Okay, so I just wanted to put that into perspective. On your floor plan, it says 30 seats in the eating area, but if you count them, they're only 20. So these are meant to be to scale, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm just curious where the other 10 seats will be.
So it's a booth. That backside is a booth.
Oh, the backside is the booth, and that's the other.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification, because it
Sure.
did not make much sense.
And
Okay.
just to be able to respond, I feel as though I do want to let you know that we requested this hearing months ago. And this is a point of contention with the township. Wawa was happy to agree to come forward, but we did send this request to the township over 100 days ago.
Okay, well, as a council member, I didn't have that information.
Okay.
So, okay. And then, I guess, in reference to the time frame, like I'm a stagehand, so I work at all hours of the day and night. I personally don't drink any alcohol, or not what you're selling. And I think the concerns for our residents is that a convenience store being able to sell beer and wine, or it's beer until 2 a.m., right? It's just a little longer than people would want it to be sold versus then they might as well go to a bar, or something like that. But I think that we've had concerns in the past about liquor licenses coming into the township in areas that were already saturated with other liquor licenses. I do, and ShopRite does have a liquor license. So that's two buildings on the same, in the same shopping center to have liquor licenses if it goes through, right? So it starts to saturate the area. So it is a little bit of a concern. I'm sorry, I'm slowly losing my voice. It's from going from the hot air to the cold air. So I have an air conditioning cold. So I think that's a concern of the residents. So just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Wentz. Councilwoman Farrelly?
There's going to be self-checkout, right? So the Wawa stuff, now you can
There's correct. There is self-checkout. You are not permitted to self-checkout your own alcohol.
So how-
And Wawa signs an affidavit and sends that to the Liquor Control Board stating that they will not sell through their self-checkout registers.
But who's going to monitor that? Like if you have somebody just go and grab like one can.
It won't
could be-
scan.
Can't.
The SKU, that barcode, won't scan at those self-checkout registers.
Okay, Councilwoman Farrelly?
Yeah.
Okay, yep. Councilwoman Wagner?
Okay, good evening. I just want to let you know, I do believe, first of all, I love the ramp training. I frankly, all through law school was ramp trained. I know how important that is, so that's a really great step. I think frankly, you're going to be met with a lot of opposition up here tonight when you get to the vote. I'm not saying which side I'm on, but I am the first district, I am the councilwoman where the Wawa's going in. I think it would go a very long way if you change those hours. And I understand you're saying that you don't have authority, but I see Mr. Siegel sitting there from Wawa. You know, I agree with Councilman Heyman. I think that the hours are a big problem. And as a compromise here, I could tell you, we'll definitely go along with me if we could agree to that. I don't want to hold up Wawa. Frankly, I am thrilled that Wawa is going in there. But frankly, I think this is where we could maybe come to a little bit of headway.
Would the council be able to meet us halfway and do midnight like the other municipality had requested?
Let's finish the rest of council, and then we'll have a vote on that after we hear from the public, okay?
Okay, sure.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
Thank you, Councilwoman Wagner.
Thank you. I have a question. Is it true that Sheetz and Wawa are supposed to be buying each other? I went to school in Pittsburgh. That's the only reason why I'm asking.
Oh my goodness.
That's the only reason why I'm asking. So I went to school. I went to Duquesne. That's the only reason why I'm
Oh,
asking.
did
I'm
you?
being funny. I'm being funny. But that's the only reason why I'm asking. But is it true though? But is it true?
That would be a big acquisition. I haven't heard that. And
Well, you never know.
And I did live in Philly, so my loyalty is with Wawa.
Oh,
Even
okay,
though
okay.
I have Sheets in my area, but
Yeah. Well, my loyalty is with Wawa. I'm not a cheese person, no. But I just had to put that in there,
Yeah.
to break the tension.
I
So,
also
but
went
yeah.
to Duquesne, so go Dukes.
Oh, okay. We have to talk. All right, bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Councilwoman Phillips. So I have quite a few questions. Some are for Mr. Siegel. Thank you, Councilman Heyman and Councilwoman Wagner for your comments. Eileen, you made a statement, you made a note that the seating was not in the original plan for this Wawa. So how could it be passing any codes in Upper Darby or the Planning Commission of the township to automatically just put 30 seats in here? It's a 55,000 square foot property or 5,500 square foot property?
5,976 square
Okay,
feet.
which automatically, before the seating, the square footage never changed. Okay, am I correct?
The square footage did change.
Okay, I don't see that in the report of coming back to rezoning. The numbers that I calculate for this square footage is 55 parking spots without 24 or 30 seatings. That automatically tells you requirement of how many handicap parking spots you're supposed to have. When you change this Wawa convenience store into a restaurant with basically deli license from Manoa Pizza, your requirement for another 4 to 6 handicap parking spots for this restaurant liquor license. I know the answer is going to be, we have a whole parking lot. But that's not what the zoning approved. You've made statements that the seating wasn't in the original plan. Now it is. Never went back to zoning, never came back to us that I'm aware of. I've been here 3.5 years. This is no longer a convenience store, which it's a restaurant. How many additional parking spots do you need when you add 30 seatings? I believe it's going to be anywhere between 4 to 6 handicap, which is going to take away from your flow of your regular customers. And also, I believe you need, 15 other parking spots, which you don't have in that parcel. So I don't know how this passes zoning. I know how it passes the Liquor Control Board. Your firm represented my brother 18 years ago. So
Before
I
my
know,
time.
so I know how it passes, but I don't know how it passes zoning. So I love the idea of Mr. Councilman Heyman and Councilwoman Wagner, but my point of contention here is How did it pass zoning? I don't understand that. And how many, didn't get a variance for a liquor license, might have got a variance for more square footage. The building's built, the seats aren't in there. The liquor license is going to come to Wawa, but it's going to come to Wawa's possession, but it's not going to be at 5100 State Road for the time being till it gets to the state to say that. And how many other businesses is Wawa looking at in Upper Darby, and how many more liquor licenses are they going to acquire? Because Wawa can acquire almost any liquor license in the state of Pennsylvania for a decent price, especially when you have failing pizza shops that have owned what they call a deli license for over 30 years, which I worked under in 1982, a deli license. So I'm hearing that Wawa's looking at a property on State and Lansdowne. We know in the paper Wawa's looking at a property just outside Upper Darby in Clifton Heights / Morton on Balmer Pike. What's Wawa's intention of how many liquor licenses they plan to bring into Upper Darby Township or Delaware County? They're my questions. They're my concerns. The biggest one is how you got through zoning. It didn't come back through us. That's all my concerns are.
President Burke, with all
Yeah.
with all due respect, I don't know that that's a question for the applicant. I think that's a question for.
Well,
our
I
zoning.
just asked Wawa. He represents Wawa. That's all I asked.
No, and I understand that you asked that question. I just don't understand how that's relevant.
No,
for
no, I
them.
know it's for zoning, but I just wanted to bring it out to the public and council of just some things that seem like they got swept under the carpet. Drexel Line's there. We're going to open. Wawa's there. Everybody's happy Wawa's there. I applaud Council Hammond and Councilwoman Wagner with some suggestions. So that's all I got to say. Thanks, Mr. Seaman.
No, very legitimate concerns. The mayor just asked me about the zoning. Obviously, that's the purview of the zoning hearing board, not Upper Darby Council, and I'm not going to get into that. We did talk to Mr. Chast about it, and he, in his review of this application, the previous, didn't think they needed additional zoning relief based on their prior decisions. But that's not my determination. That's the zoning officers, just so everybody understands.
Thank you.
Okay, can I, it's just, I'm sorry, Councilman Silva. So Josh said that he didn't think, and this all went to Delaware County before it came here first, am I correct? So Josh made a decision that he doesn't think it needed anything?
This is a liquor code application. We were asked by you, President Burke, to look at the zoning.
Yes.
We looked at the zoning, talked to Josh, our zoning officer, about it, and we do not, it wouldn't be his view and our view that you do not need additional zoning relief based on this application. That's all.
But they changed it from a convenience store to a restaurant, a non-convenience store. So
I'm
we were
not
just
gonna-
here.
I'm not
Okay,
gonna contradict.
you're not going to go back and forth because I know you don't want to. But my issue is we just had the developer in here last meeting on a land development on a change, on the same parcel, on the same strip. So I don't understand how we approve the movement of 192 apartments to medical center and a parking garage where Josh said we have to, or Mike Galante, the township engineer, and then we just say, let's turn our convenience store into a restaurant, and then 90 days, let's turn it into where we can sell wine. There are my concerns where I don't believe we're following the same process of what we just followed last meeting. So thank you, Solicitor Kenny, for your thoughts and your opinion. Councilman Silva. Yeah, go ahead. Mike, if you want to respond, go ahead.
In regards to the zoning, we also took a look. We reached out to Wawa's outside counsel who handled the zoning application. He came to the same determination as your zoning officer, that there is nothing that precludes Wawa from adding the seating in, and that this particular use is permitted within the commercial district where they're set.
But the Liquor Control Board requires you And so the zoning require you, when you become a restaurant, you add seats to add more parking and more handicap.
The
Am I
liquor code
correct?
doesn't say anything about parking.
No.
So if, so
The restaurant code
I
does.
want to reassure the township that if anything should come up, pending an approval this evening, we would not be able to build out this building or get liquor code approval without getting the approval from the zoning. If one is determined to be needed, it can be handled in conjunction with this. While we've done some outside research and we don't believe that there's any additional approvals that are needed, if something were to come up that there is a zoning code requirement that Wawa must comply with, they will comply with that.
Okay, thanks. Councilman Silva.
All right, thank you. So my question is, when you were talking about it earlier, so next to the front vestibule, you have the walk-in beer refrigerator, and then there's beer storage to the left of that. Is that where all the non-refrigerated beer would be then? It's not going to be like scattered throughout the store and 12 packs or something?
They do, so there will be warm beer, which might be what you're referring to. And that's when you've gone into maybe a grocery store or another convenience store that has a liquor license. ShopRite, I know, would do it as well, where they stack those like near the register if someone were to want to grab warm beer.
Okay.
But it wouldn't be in the shelving area, it would be right out in the open.
Okay, so it would be like near the register then? I mean, it would
Correct.
be, so if we determined a time, I'm guessing then, is the refrigerator closed at that time?
So the refrigerators, yes, they're locked at whatever hour they cease alcohol sales.
Okay, and then the wine area is as well, it's secured in some way?
They do not lock it. Their registers will lock out so that no one can purchase those, but they're not required under the liquor code to actually take all their displays and put them away in the back.
Okay, so whatever time it is too, when a person goes to purchase from Wawa, like self-scan or through the register, the machine literally cannot.
That's correct.
Okay, well, that's a plus. I don't know, I guess I'm a little weird on that too. I know other places, I've been to other states where they do this, and I know, maybe it's just being old fuddy-duddy or something, but like, gas stations that sell liquor, it seems like crazy to me, but but yeah, I guess I don't think I'm ready for the 2 a.m. thing, but maybe if we come to some amended time, that might be more doable. But it is good to know that you have safeguards in place as far as being able to not purchase after whatever time, and then also that the beer area will be secured at a certain time. Those are two things. And a little more concerned about, but if the other beer is at the registers, that is a comfort, I guess, as well. All right, that's all I have at this point.
Thank you, Councilman Silva. Just one more quick question before Councilman Andrusco. I said one quick question before. You spoke earlier, so I'm going to let you speak again. When you said about one beer at the table, are they allowed to buy a six-pack and take that beer out of the six-pack and have it at the table?
Yes,
Can you do that at any restaurant?
yes.
Okay. I wasn't sure. All right. Thank you.
Anyway, it's just a thought. Most children, when they go into a place or an establishment, they want that candy and gum and the snacks. So if that can be on the opposite side where the beer is sold, that's just a thought or an idea. So it says candy on the wire shelves. It's right by, it's at 4.3 where it is. You have candy and snacks. If that can be opposite so that when children are going in, they don't have to go see the people or the alcohol. It could be on the opposite side. That's just a thought.
Okay.
And just for my, for the sake of it. And then I was just wondering, with the hiring practices, have they set aside a certain amount or a certain percentage for women and minorities?
I don't know the answer off the top of my head, Mike. Do you?
We're very flexible when we do our
Or even
hiring.
if people in the neighborhood to be hired, percent,
So for a store like this size, we will hire probably about 40 to 50 people. So 40 to 50 jobs are going to be coming to Upper Darby.
Okay.
We do not go one way or the other. I can say that in all the stores that I've been involved with, I don't know what percentage is, but I would say there is a substantial amount of women in as some of our associates, including some of our management. So assistant managers, store managers, so on and so forth.
And so I was just also curious about, I mean, you're going to have nearby, you're going to have the Upper Darby High School, the Delaware County Community College. Are you connecting with them to see if their students need jobs? And is there any collaboration going on there? I'm just curious.
We reach out to the community in several ways, not just on our website, mailings, articles in the paper, so on and so forth, when we do open a new store. For this particular site, I'm sure we would be instituting the same measures. It's been a success for us in the past on who we hire, both in age groups and where they're from. So it has worked well in the past.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all for joining us. Just have a couple questions. So how does the Wawa, do you guys have the same, are you under the same franchise owner as the other Wawas, or how's that work?
So Wawa we do not have any franchisees. We are all owned by one family, the Wood family.
Okay.
However, the associates, the employees like myself, we own 40% of Wawa. So that gives you an idea of how much is owned by the associates who work there.
So do you all plan on, and this is more of a question for him, you may know, I'm not sure, do you guys plan on having security of any sort?
We do have stores where security has been added. Depends on location, it depends on the necessity. For this particular site, I'm not sure if that's been evaluated. I know we do have several safety measures that we've improved upon from learnings from other stores, between cameras, between training of our associates, locks on types of doors to prevent theft. So there's a lot of things that we've been doing. I can't say for sure if this store in particular would have security or not.
Okay, so yeah, a lot of my colleagues have shared concerns based on, a lot of residents are extremely concerned about the time frame. I think we need to view Wawa, this is not a small business just coming into a township. This is honestly a national business here. And as someone every year, when I do my book bag giveaway, right, a lot of my colleagues support it as well, but Wawa's been there every year. When they're in my community every year when I'm doing an event. So I trust that you all would, since this is a national business, maybe one day you guys could expand internationally. But a lot of the concerns my colleagues are sharing is just based on the time frame, because residents in their brain, they just see a bar, right? They think it's going to be underage, but I think it would be similar to maybe your tobacco policy, right? That you have in our standard stores now, where you have to scan. And I'm under the impression that I've seen Wawa take steps to improve things. I've seen what they did in Philadelphia to combat shoplifting. So I'm confident that we can come to some form of a compromise, maybe. But if not, I'm in favor of the project, how it's originally submitted as well.
So I'm going to let you guys step to the side, or I thought there were chairs. There's no chairs there, but I'm going to let the general public come up and ask questions. Oh, 2 chairs there. I'm sorry. Thanks. You guys can sit right up. Yep. I'm sorry. Thanks. Yep. Anybody from? I'll open it up to the public. So you can just turn the mics on when you're ready to speak, or you can push the non-Zoom. You can turn.
Lee Jordan, 90 Pilgrim Lane, Drexel Hill. I actually don't even know where to begin. First, I wanted to talk with the how it was advertised. I really don't think it was advertised well at all. I went and looked at the sign today that's been up, and there was nothing about a hearing that was going to occur. It was just about the transfer of the liquor license. So I think there is protocol that has to be done from being on the Upper Darby School Board, that the public needs to be notified at least 30 days before a hearing. And the only reason I found out about this was getting on the website. So I'm not even sure this hearing can be happening this evening because that notice had no date or no time and when this was going to be happening to the public. That's my first point. My second point is, before I get into this, that environmentally, changing this into a restaurant, that's a game changer. I mean, I sat in all these developmental meetings, and there was a lot about the trash, a lot about what's happening, behind Darby Creek and the building of, all these establishments. So I think that's something that maybe the planning or somebody else needs to look at. And I guess, and I'm sure Wawa knows this would be the first liquor application that the Wawa would have in Upper Darby Township. These applications have been denied in the past. And the reason why? Because we want to support the local businesses. We have a lot of beer distributors right across the street. I went to talk to them today. They had no idea that this was going in. Would it affect their business? Absolutely. I'm disappointed that no one on council even mentioned that. The previous administration always denied a transfer of a liquor license into Upper Darby Township. You know why? Because they wanted to support the small businesses that continue to stay in this township and that have been here through COVID and for years. Wawa, we love Wawas, but we don't need the liquor piece. You're giving the gas and you're giving the convenience, but I don't need for you to be selling beer and liquor because I have a ShopRite that's 100 feet away. I have a beer distributor right across the street. I have not even a mile away another beer distributor, and then I have a wine and spirits store. Okay? With you selling liquor, to me, brings a lot of issues into my backyard because I live less than, I don't know, maybe 200 feet away for where this is going to be. And just a little bit of history. When this plan was originally introduced, and this is where I'm really upset, the number one question that was asked of Wawa maybe 4 or 5 years ago was, are you going to have liquor? And the answer was no. I have no idea when this changed. I mean, I don't know when it was changed, when it was passed through. And the fact that you have plans, and I drive by your building every day, and it's already built as if you are going to have liquor. I mean, I think that takes a lot of nerve. And I'm not sure who runs your community affairs department, but I think you would have been out in the public telling people that this was your plan when originally you said you weren't going to sell liquor. It's pretty disappointing. I mean, and I really always thought highly of Wawa, but you never did the outreach to the community to say that you're changing your plans to sell the liquor. And obviously you're not familiar with the area. I back into Pilgrim Park, which directly across from where you're going to be potentially selling liquor, which hopefully the council will vote no to this tonight to save our businesses that have been in our township, the beer distributors and the wine and ShopRite that just opened. Like that's right. I mean, anybody can get the beer or the wine that they want, but there's underage drinking 24/7. We already have a strain on the police department. They know it. You're going to have those kids coming in, distracting the cashiers, walking out with beer. I mean, and they're partying 24/7, and I know as a fact. So I am asking council tonight, and I don't even know where these transfers are coming from, if there's any escrow. It was always no. We don't need any more liquor licenses in Upper Darby Township. We are doing just fine. And in the past, they've been denied because the people in charge were protecting the businesses that currently are here and helping them. So I'm asking council tonight to consider every single small business that you have. Wawa has enough money, and okay, they're making their money. But our small guys that have been here for years and years and years, think about them tonight when you're making that vote for the liquor. Thank you. And the residents.
Thank you, Ms. Jordan. Ms. Jordan, the advertisement was in the paper. Solicitor Marcini has the dates, but I believe the question at hand was when you transfer a liquor license, the liquor license is coming from Havertown Pizzeria into Drexel Hill at 5100 State Road. I believe you were asking a question, was there a big orange sign on? I have a picture of it. Does it say where it's coming from?
It says where it's coming from.
Okay. Does it list the date of the hearing and all that? I don't know if that's code or not.
Does
Ms. Freeman, I don't know if
I
that's.
believe Ms. Freeman can talk to
Yes,
the
yeah. Yeah, I'm just saying, I'm directing it to Ms.
I can
Freeman.
absolutely explain that. So the process that's put in place under the liquor code is an applicant requests a hearing from the municipality. So we had sent that in, it was received by the municipality, and I also sent it via email as a request. The township is given 45 days to respond to said request. If they do not respond within 45 days, it's deemed approved. The township did not respond within 45 days. So that is the reason why we filed our application. I spoke with Attorney Marcini. She had, on the day that we had filed the application, she had requested an additional 60 days, which is allowable under the liquor code, but you have to request it within the 45 days. That was the discrepancy. We had spoken with the deputy chief counsel, and it was determined that we could keep the poster up while we came before Upper Darby Township. So while we could have fought that and said, no, we're not coming before you guys, I talked to Wawa. Wawa was more than happy to come before the township and the residents to explain all of this. We just didn't take the poster down. So the poster was not to notify the residents of this hearing. Under the liquor code, all that's required is what the township had done, which is 2 notices in a newspaper of general circulation, which I agree is not the best notice. However, that's all that's afforded under the liquor code.
Please. Thank you, Ms. Freeman. Go ahead.
Joanne Namavong, 133 North Pennock. So from what you're saying, it makes it sound like, why are we even here? You guys already decided to do it and we have no say? You're saying this council has no say in what you're going to do? Is that correct?
That's not what I'm saying.
That's what it sounds like.
Wawa has agreed to come before the township and allow them to make the determination. We had 2 avenues. We could have fought the township in an administrative battle with the Liquor Control Board, or we could have come here. And Wawa equivocally said, absolutely, we'll come before the township.
So if they vote against your application, will you honor that or will you fight them on it?
Well, that's up to Wawa. That's not my determination to make. They do have appeal rights, and they would be allowed to appeal the township's decision. I do not have a response from them one way or the other.
Okay. Then I'm a little things that Brian Burke was asking about. There's like 2 kinds of licenses. Like the first kind is like what you have at Acme. Is that correct? And then you were talking about, they don't serve food. They just have, tables that you can sit and drink at. It's not a restaurant.
So it's, unfortunately, all the grocery stores and convenience stores do operate the same exact liquor license. So the same license that Wawa is acquiring, Acme has as well. Acme is under the same requirements that Wawa is. They have to allow for on-premises consumption of alcohol, and they have to have food on site. It's a little difficult when a patron comes into a grocery store or convenience store, they don't see it like I would see it, since this is all I do for employment. I can see where a licensed establishment is in a grocery store. It's very hard to see to a naked eye. So I can assure you, our firm represents Acme. They follow the same procedures that Wawa follows.
So are you saying, when you're talking about a restaurant though, are you saying, what I'm gathering now is that I come into Wawa, I go up to the counter, I buy my food, I buy my beer, and I sit at that place. Is that the kind of restaurant you're talking about? Or are there waiters?
No,
people that
there's
are going to serve food?
There's no wait staff. So
Okay.
what you described in the first hypothetical, that is what would occur.
Okay. And then the other question I have that Ms. Blackwell asked about school kids, whether they could work there. So high school kids are not 21 yet. So I know that there's not, like in Acme, there's a dedicated line where you have to buy your beer. Is there going to be a dedicated line? It didn't sound like there was, because it sounded like you're going to turn beer off at the end of the hours. So how are we going to make sure that the college and high school kids are not working a register where somebody's going to come up and bring beer to buy?
They have to be at least 18 years of age in order to sell alcohol in Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay. All right.
18 years.
Okay, you can sell it, but you can't, they're not allowed to, but patrons can't touch it if they're under 18. My kids have been told in Acme they're not allowed to touch it unless they're 21,
That's correct. And there is signage to that effect.
but they're allowed to sell it, just can't touch it.
That's correct.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much.
Of course.
Did not plan here. Donna Formica, 5244 Oleander Road. Donna Formica, 5244 Oleander Road. I came here pretty agnostic about this Wawa issue, to be honest with you, until I sat here. I'm going to be about 200 feet from there, and I think I can generalize to most of the room, we all love Wawa. I'm looking forward to walking down and getting coffee and a newspaper. That being said, there's a couple concerns that I have with this. To Lee's point, I'm very concerned about the effect on local businesses. Township Line Beverage is right across the street. They've been there for years. Nice place, pillar of the community locally. ShopRite's next door. Woodland Beverage is down the street. Trophy Tavern's down the street. Hanrahan's is down the street. Station Tap is down the street. How much liquor do we need in less than 1 square mile? And I'm saying this, and this may be offensive, and I mean no offense to everybody. I grew up in Bucks County. The amount of alcohol consumption in Delaware County is alarming. And I say this as a trauma nurse, as a flight nurse, and a critical care nurse practitioner. We do not need more alcohol here. I spent my career saving people from alcohol. And to say that hospital workers are going to leave work and pick up alcohol at 2 a.m., I take umbrage to that statement. First of all, we're 7A to 7P, so I don't want to get into a straw man argument. The vast majority of shifts are 7A to 7P. Should we approve this? They don't need to be open until 2 a.m. And as someone who's worked on saving lives, I don't really like being associated with that. What disappoints me is that Wawa is a pillar of this community, and I think most of us are very loyal to it, and I feel that our loyalty has been exploited. Additionally, as working class citizens, we don't have the power that Wawa has, and I'm afraid that we're getting bowled over by this movement. This is very concerning to me, the way that this was handled. As far as staff watching it, we all know how busy Wawas are. I think to say that staff can effectively watch and make sure that the liquor's being handled appropriately, I don't think that's realistic. You go to the Wawa on Manoa Road in Havertown, there's 20 people in line. It's absolute chaos. There's 2 Wawas a block apart from each other in Drexel Hill. Absolute chaos getting in and out of there, out of the parking lot. So now we're supposed to trust them to be able to handle the alcohol? I think that's an unrealistic expectation. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
So anybody else from the community? There you go, Tina.
You know it. Tina Hamilton, you need the address? 4715 Woodland Avenue, Drexel Hill. I deal with drug and alcohol all the time. Our organization is Recovery Without Barriers. I help people get into treatment. This is right at the top of my street. I love Wawa, but I don't want to see the alcohol there. I don't want to see, that's where you're going to find all these kids. You're going to find them there. You can walk into Wawa and you can walk out of Wawa, left and right. And nobody was going to do anything. We see it all the time. Wawas are closing left and right because people are coming in there and just taking things. You know, I could see them just grabbing their booze when nobody's looking, sticking in their pocket, hanging outside, drinking away. This is what my envision, because I know that that's where I would, if my kids were younger, I'd find them at the Wawa, sitting on that bench, asking people to go in there and get their booze. We've made it easier. We just make it easier by doing it. And this isn't against a Wawa in any way, but we don't need more alcohol right there at the top of that street. Because it will affect businesses too, but I think it's going to affect our community. With what I deal with, I am telling you, this will affect our community to be able to sit outside of a Wawa because you bought a hoagie and be drinking too. It's just, you got it right off of Main Highway, too. It's a great spot, artery-wise and getting into it. It's a perfect location. I love it. It's right down the street. But I'd rather go into Drexel Line and go buy something. I'd rather go to Township Line and go buy something, walk home, or stick it in my car and go home. Not be hanging out at a Wawa drinking. I just don't understand a Wawa liquor license to begin with on a good day. I just don't agree with it. You know, keep it somewhere else. We don't need it. Now, this is the community speaking up, and I think everybody up here feels the same way. And this is our community. So I hope the council thinks the same way because our community's not happy with it, and that's what matters. And they're all local. They're all in walking distance to this Wawa. I can walk right up the street and I'm there. You know, I don't want to see them on our streets. I just don't want to see it. I don't think it's healthy for us to have that availability like that on top of what we already have on every corner. People were complaining that we're going to have a Wawa close to each other. This one, you go down Vermont Road, you hit another one, you hit another one. Thing on Township Line, coming across there, you don't have one till 252 and then Granite Run, and then you don't have another one till way down to the boulevard. So it's a good location, but not for the alcohol. It's just not, because that you're going to have that, and you're going to have pure chaos. You will have it. that's where the kids will congregate, you're going to have a problem. I really think that it's something that you may consider, not the alcohol. Thank you.
Becky Duggan, 129 North Pennock Avenue. I just want to say, no offense, but you guys made a mistake. You should have not thought, because the township was, I don't know, crafty enough, the administration, to not respond to you in hopes that it would just go through and nobody would say anything. So you made a mistake.
They don't know us. They don't know us. They don't know us. Sorry.
I like Wawa though.
Sorry.
We love Wawa. Yeah, this isn't against Wawa. We love Wawa. We hate them.
This time, I'm going to close the public comment, if that's okay with everybody. Councilman Wagner has a few encouraging words to
Encouraging words.
to Mr. Siegel and Wawa. So,
I'm perfectly happy, by the way, to speak with any resident that's here about what I'm about to say and what my decision will be tonight. I am going to ask you to agree tonight to change that to 12 o'clock. I think we could come to that agreement. I think that's a big difference, and I am going to ask you now if you're willing to do that.
I did get authority to do that.
Perhaps there'll be a motion.
Before you say that, just one
Sorry
thing.
about that.
I also want everyone to know, I have seen their locations in Granite Run and other places in Delaware County. So I guess that's why I'm able to visualize it a little bit more. But again, I'm happy to talk to anybody afterwards.
Yeah, we'll.
so I have to ask the question to the solicitors now. I have approval and a denial. So do I need to add midnight in this?
So it would be we would take the approval, right? And then under the approval, there would be condition 3, that the applicant agreed, and we'll modify it.
Okay.
That the applicant agreed on the record that operating hours would, for liquor sales would be midnight. So we'll add that.
Well, basically, that's.
I'm sorry, Councilwoman Wentz.
That's basically,
I'm sorry, I can't hear Councilwoman Wentz.
what you end up signing is based on whether it passes or not.
So it's going to go
Right?
midnight, and then we're going to take a vote on the amended version of this. We're going to take a vote. If it's in favor of midnight, then the new draft will be printed up, and it'll be signed by the people that need to sign it.
Right. I'm just
So-
saying that as far as which one you sign, it's relative to.
I'm not going to sign anything right
Right,
now.
I'm
because we
just
have an
saying, I'm
amendment.
just saying that
We
it
have an
has to be
amendment, so,
approved first before you decide that.
So, Secretary Billups, you're up. I'm sorry, we have a second?
I'll second it as amended. Oh, go ahead.
That's fine. She
All
got
right,
it.
Councilman Heyman. So we have first by Councilwoman Wagner, second by Councilman Heyman. So we'll get a roll call on this, on the amended version of 2123 of beer sales ending at midnight.
The wine at 11.
Wine at 11 and beer sales at midnight.
Okay, so this is a vote on the wine sale at 11.
The resolution.
Resolution, sorry, and for 21-23. Okay? Councilor Heyman,
Yes.
Councilor Blackwell,
Yes.
Councilor Andrusco,
No.
Councilor Sadiq,
Definitely no.
Councilor Faralia,
No.
Councilor Silver,
Yes.
President Burke,
No.
Secretary Billups is a yes. Councilor Wagner,
Yes.
Vice President Tunis,
Yes.
and Councilor Wentz.
I'm a no.
6 to 5.
6 to 5, it passes Resolution 2123. Okay. Thank you.
6 to 5, yes.
6 to 5, yes, it passed. Thank you for coming tonight. Next up, we have Solicitor's Report.
Wanted to see, did any counselors have any questions? Thank you very much, Councilor Wentz.
Thank you. An issue has come up.
Excuse me, we'd like to continue the meeting.
An issue came up today, and I just was looking for some clarification. Is there a bidding requirement for professional services?
For what?
For professional services in our township? Is there a bidding requirement? No.
In the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, there's not.
Okay, is there a bidding requirement for any purchases that are under $5,000 within the township?
Within the Charter or Administrative Code, I don't know. In the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, no.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. Okay.
Further questions as soon as Wentz.
Yeah, no, that answers the questions I had on that. So thank you very much.
Yes?
Solicitor Kilkenny, does the State Ethics Act say that you have to bid out a project valued at more than, or a service or an item valued at more than $500 if you're getting it from a family member?
If you're giving a service to a family member, that depends on the definition. There's definition in the State Ethics Act of family. So it usually refers to immediate family, meaning brothers and sisters, siblings, children, and stuff like that. So if there is of that, then the person, before action is taken on that, the person should recuse themselves from that vote. They should recuse themselves in person, not deliberate, and then recuse themselves in writing and in any vote that happens on the issue.
What are the consequences of violating that act?
I don't know. That's up to the State Ethics Commission.
Okay.
Okay, so follow-up question. If a family member happens to be an employee of a vendor of the township, that a vendor had been a vendor of the township for for many years, we purchased things from that, the contact person happened to have been a family member, but wasn't necessarily, they just happened to work for them. Is that a violation?
Again, I don't determine violations. That would be,
right.
Someone could ask me for a written opinion on that issue. An elected official could, and then our office with those facts would opine. We're asked to do that from time to time. I would have to know the facts specifically to know if it was a violation or not.
Right, because when in reference to Councilman Heyman's question, I would think the violation would be handing a check to a relative of an elected official, right? Handing a check specifically in their name, right? But paying a bill for swag for council to the specific company that the swag was bought from for council, and the individual happened to have been the one who had the conversation to facilitate the sale, but they're not.
No, I hear
It's
what
not
you're
a check.
saying.
It's not a check in their name. It's
I
to
would
the
request that you put
company.
that scenario to me in writing to opine. I don't want to.
So thank you, Councilwoman Wentz. To make it clear, Councilman Heyman is saying I violated ethics violations due to the gifts that we got from Mayor Keffer, which was a pullover that was ordered prior to 2020, around 2021, was used vendor of no bid process, used vendor of sports specialties, which my son works for as a salesman. We didn't have anything to do with that ability of ordering that. We were just asked by Rose Rice for our size. This gentleman pays taxes to the school district. He's in Clifton Heights. He's not in Upper Darby Township. When Vice President Wentz at the time asked Rose Rice, the secretary to the mayor, where she got the nice pullovers, the business card of my son was handed to Vice President Wentz. So the question is, to make it clear, Councilman Wagner, anybody that's run in the last couple of years went to sports specialties for their election shirts. Mr. Heyman, you've also gone to sports specialties to my son for this. What's that?
I only do brothers graphics in Upper Darby.
I didn't say anything about Vice President Tunis. I just said, we've had nonprofits that actually go to sports specialties. It's called quality and quantity for the bottom line price. And when you want good product, you go to a good vendor. So if any questions are asked about ethics, that business card was handed by the mayor's assistant, Rose Rice. So if anybody needs an answer to any right to knows, the answer to a right to know was just given.
Wait, so I just have a question.
So hold on. We all, some of us wear the product more than others. We all enjoyed the jacket, how warm it was. We all complimented it. But I believe Councilman Tunis Councilman Heyman at the time did not know that the pullover that we received was also from the same vendor that we had nothing to do with. For a bidding process, the water bottle that Councilwoman Wagner has, the binders that we have, the cups that we have, were never out on a bid process. So
Because they
not
weren't
the
purchased
Friars
from family
Cup, but the
members.
cups that we received from the mayor along with her chocolate or a coconut that we got at Christmas time. Along with our birthday gifts that our police department and our fire department receive a $5 card. That wasn't voted on the budget that our police and firemen receive on their birthday.
None of them were purchased from family members.
Councilman Heyman, if you want to throw darts, then throw them. You got your answer, the right to know. If you want to bring me up on violation, continue to bring me up. That's only telling me one thing. So you got your answer. Councilwoman Wentz, I think you got your answer from Solicitor Kilkenny. I'm sure he'll give us an opinion on his point on this. So let's lay it to bed. As Mr. Ed Brown has said every time that he comes into the meeting, let's get together and get something done instead of throwing darts at people.
Stop breaking the law.
I just have.
So any more questions for the solicitor? We're going to continue on with the meeting. Thank you very much. And any more questions to the solicitor?
I can't ask you a question.
You want to ask me a question?
Yeah, I'm just
Sure,
trying
go
to get the timeline and.
Sure, go ahead.
Alex, just
Sure, go
asking
ahead.
a question. So I'm not disputing who brought the pullover, but the polos, right, that we received, that wasn't from the mayor. I didn't receive that polo from the mayor. No, I'm asking.
The windbreaker pullover.
No, I understand that. But the polos that happened during your term as president.
No, you're wrong.
No, I'm asking you a question. I'm not
You
saying
said
this
it
is
happened
a
during my term as a
question.
president.
This is
Go
a
ahead.
question, not a
Go
statement.
ahead, go ahead. Go ahead. You're asking me the polos were done during my term as a
Yeah,
president?
I'm saying, was that the same vendor? Like the polos we received?
The polos, the jacket, and the V-neck pullover are all from the same vendor, all same salesman, all same good quality that you guys.
No, I don't need the advertisement. I'm asking, the same salesman was your son, is what you're saying. From the polos that we brought under your presidency, I'm just asking a question.
Everything was done before I became a president.
So the polos were already ordered by the previous president.
No, okay, I'm sorry.
I'm just trying to get clarity. Why can't I get clarity?
Excuse me. Miss Taylor, I was misquoted. Vice President Tunis, I was misquoted. Yeah.
The fifth district, y'all need to throw him out of here.
What?
And he ain't gonna stole the whole.
We're at solicitor.
Listen. I got you. Okay. I'm going to try to, all right. Secretary Billups, Councilman Andrusco, and Secretary Billups, along with Mr. Kilkenny, says we're going to move on. It was the solicitor's question. It was asked and answered. Are there any more questions for the solicitor? No. Okay. Now we're going to go into old business. Councilwoman Wagner, old business.
I mean, I'm not really sure where this fits, but it's old to me in the sense that we've already voted on it. So I see the mayor saw that this was coming and obviously left after acknowledging she knew that was coming. So I'm going to actually ask for Ms. Dobbins to come into the room. Somebody needs to answer.
Ms. Dobbins, are you still on, watching the meeting on Zoom?
I understand that, but
All right, well, we'll wait to see if Ms. Dobbins will come to the room, if you're available.
When y'all donate y'all pullovers, when y'all done with police, bring them to the post. We'll take care of it. Families losing their homes. We'll make sure the homeless gets warm. Yeah, Y'all arguing over clothes. Since they Absolutely leave their shirts, they went to the homeless. Disgusting. Disgusting. It is. Arguing Trash over everywhere. clothes. that Here, you how paid about for. here, y'all can argue That about none the of y'all snow paid plow. for. That The none of trucks. you paid for. There's an idea, Haman. Taxpayer money, There's y'all an idea, arguing Haman. about. That who built, who bought this, who benefited We got that. some All nerve. of y'all up there got envelopes pushed underneath the door. All of you are part of the same conspiracy, okay? What about the trucks for wintertime, You got a solicitor Here's an talking idea. about How he about you above talk about he that? above the home rule charter. I'm glad you said that. I'm not getting, I I'm wish glad I you told them said months that. ago. You To above put the a check home rule with my charter? name on it. I'm glad I you wish they said would that. try me. That's the best thing you ever did. Talk about the snowplows, Haman.
All right, excuse me. Ms. Dobbins, are you coming? All right, so we're going to go, okay, go ahead. Go ahead, that's fine, that's fine.
Office is going to have to field this too. I have to say that I am so sincerely disappointed in the actions of this administration since August 2nd. We worked really hard as a council to come together and allocate those ARPA funds to what are absolutely legitimate and needed areas. And I think we did it so well together that we were able to distribute them across the township. I'm going to start with the senior center, and before I get what I already know the solicitor's office's answer is going to be, that again was August 2nd that we voted yes to that, 11-0, after working so hard together. The administration has had that lease for 2 weeks and has not signed it. I know the solicitor's office is going to tell me they have issues with the lease. I have to tell you, that is absolute nonsense. And the reason I know that, first of all, is because I answered this solicitor yesterday. Well, she said that there's major problems with the lease. Well, what are they? If there's such major problems, I should have been told immediately what they were. I also am the one who went and got the lease. So if there's major issues, even the landlord is saying, tell me what they are so that we can work on them. Or see if there really is an issue. And I'll remind everybody in the public, those listening on YouTube and as well as here, this exact same lease was used in the exact same shopping center and signed by the County of Delaware by the county council with no problem. The only difference with the lease that I got was we got a 10% discount. So frankly, the fact that that lease is not signed is disgusting. And we are now in jeopardy of losing that location because this administration has continued over and over and over to fail us and to fail you. And they could say, again, it's a lease problem. Well, let me ask you this. Why have the 5 fire departments not received their $100,000? Because that was an easy one to do. You didn't need to sign anything. You could have just released it to them. They are now calling and asking where it was. We are over a month after that has been allocated and approved. And I'm actually looking to this council to actually stand by me because we work together to make this happen. And we work together to make it happen for the citizens of Upper Darby, not for the mayor and her agenda. I find this to be so disgusting. And now also, by the way, we're in danger of losing the Arts Foundation, and I'm very aware that the administration is ignoring Summer Stage as well. So at this point, I want answers. I want that lease signed because that's what that ordinance says she has to do.
Yeah, just one quick, Councilman Drews. Any response from the solicitors, or we'll respond by email?
We'll respond by email. Speak to
Thank you.
Ms. Marcy.
Thank you. Would you please copy all of council on that email? Thank you.
So we're going to lose even more days and possibly
We'll forward it
losing.
to Alexis
Right.
in Reader.
Yep, thank you. All right, Councilman Andrusko.
No, I think Councilwoman Wagner hit the nail on the head with everything she just said. Really just want to echo the sentiments of her and really want to echo the fact that these ordinances were 11-0. They were collaborative. So if the administration in any way doesn't plan to execute these, I would hope that collaboratively as a council, we would pressure the administration because we work together effortlessly, like with so much effort. And I think it's an equitable spread of all of it. It impacts every district in this township. So I hope as a council, since we passed it 11-0, we continue to press forward 11-0 to get these things done.
Thank you, Councilman Andrusko. Anybody else? Councilman Silva.
Yeah, I'm also extremely concerned about the Upper Darby Arts program not being implemented because, I mean, sitting here for 4 years, I don't know how many times I've heard that we need things for our like young adults to do. And this is a great program for them. And it's one of the gems that Upper Darby really has for, you know, parents come up here, neighbors come up here and they ask us to, you know, to like start something that helps keep the kids off the streets and keeps kids in a great program. And that is a great program that helps children. And like, how is that not an immediate response to like 2 months ago, signing that and making that happen? It would be an absolute tragedy if that did not compel after it's been passed and after everyone's worked on it. So I hope the administration takes that into consideration.
Thank you, Councilman Silva. Anybody else on, Councilwoman Wentz?
I agree 100% with my colleagues, as people say. I think it's essential that the ordinances that we've passed are followed. And this is not something new that things aren't necessarily followed when we pass these ordinances. But it needs to be, especially for these ARPA funds. We, you know, as the other council members have mentioned, all of council worked hard. These ordinances were passed 11-0, right? So everyone came together, everyone had a voice, everyone was included in the final result. And therefore, we need to follow through with it. The firehouses, they need those funds to continue to upgrade their firehouses. Our professional, so by not giving them those funds, it's affecting our professional firefighters that are working and living in those buildings outside of affecting our volunteer firefighters. So it is really essential that they get those funds. The senior center, I've gone to so many events where all I hear from the residents is the need for that senior center to happen in Drexel Hill. For years, that's all I've heard about. And now it's we're right there. We've approved it. The funds are there for it. We just need the lease signed, right? We need to get it implemented. We got to get it rolling. We have the staff. The staff was never let go. They just all got consolidated into the Watkins Center Senior Center. So it's not like the staff isn't there. They just need to get activated in the new senior center and get those programs up and running for our residents. The arts program, absolutely essential. It must happen. They have all different programs for all different ages in the performing arts and the technical arts. It's essential. We need to get that for our community. And so, yes, yes, we should definitely, but the snag is the township council, turn off all ringers at this time. The township council, we pass the laws that govern the township, and then the mayor and the administration have to implement them. So I'm not sure what our leverage is to get her to do that. But I would hope that residents who are upset and concerned about these issues will reach out to the mayor and administration to empower her to do just that.
Council doesn't push her,
Well, we have, but there's so much that we can do. So, yes, of course, we will keep the pressure on, but we need your help. We're only 11 people. We're only 11 people representing, and now some people say there's 80,000 people in this township. I think we're closer to 100,000. We need your voices to support us, to help pressure the administration and Mayor Keffer into actually upholding these ordinances.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilwoman Wentz. Anybody else on new business? I get a motion to adjourn? All in favor? Any nays? Thank you. 9:20.